keep calling it bad luck. It isn't luck. It's a loop. And you're the one pressing play. Here are 7 signs you've been living inside the same one for years. Same argument, different partner. Same burnout, different job. Same collapse, different year. You tell yourself each one is a fresh event, something that just happened to you unrelated to the last one. But separate things don't repeat this precisely, down to the exact tone of voice, the exact excuse, the exact way it all falls apart. A pattern does, and the reason you don't see it is simple. A pattern never announces itself as a pattern. It shows up disguised as a personality trait. I'm just unlucky with people. I'm just someone who cares too much and gets used. That excuse feels true because it's built from a real memory, a real ache you actually lived through. What it hides is the structure underneath it. The same trigger, the same reaction, the same ending. Running quietly in the background of your life like a program you never agreed to install. One you never even thought to open. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain isn't choosing your response each time, it's retrieving it. Research on habit formation suggests that nearly half of our daily behavior is driven by familiar cues rather than conscious decisions. A situation shows up, the brain matches it against something stored from the past, and it fires the old response before conscious thought even gets a vote. That's not weakness, it's efficiency. Deciding everything fresh every single time would burn through your mental energy in an hour, so the brain builds a shortcut instead and calls that shortcut instinct. The problem is the shortcut never checks whether the old response actually worked. It only checks whether it's familiar. And familiar feels safe to the brain, even when it's the exact thing quietly hurting you, year after year, relationship after relationship. The first sign you're inside one of these loops is that the ending always arrives with a strange sense of déjà vu. Not surprise, but recognition. Like you've watched this exact scene before. Take dating. A woman meets someone calm and steady, and something in her feels bored, almost suspicious. Then she meets someone who runs hot and cold, and something in her lights up. She calls it chemistry. It isn't Tay. She thinks she at sea choosing someone new. Her nervous system recognizes someone old. It gets stranger. The second sign is that you can usually predict the ending before it starts. You already know which sentence starts the fight. You already know you'll say it's fine when it isn't. And somehow you still hear yourself saying it, like watching a rerun you already know the plot of. Here's the one almost everyone misses. The third sign is that your body reacts before your mind catches up. A tightness in your chest the second someone gets too close. A flatness the second things get too calm. Your body isn't predicting what's about to happen. It's remembering what already did. This next sign hides in plain sight. The fourth sign is that you keep changing the scenery, but never the role you play inside it. A man gets hired into a new team, and within months he's the one everyone dumps their problems on. The fixer, the one who stays late, the one whose calendar has no edges. He calls it being conscientious. But watch the sequence. He overfunctions, resents it silently, burns out, quits, and at the next job within weeks, he's doing it again. Different company, same architecture. The fifth sign isn't the pain, it's the relief. That quiet exhale when the pattern kicks back in because chaos, however painful, is familiar. And familiar never has to be navigated blind. That's not comfort. That's a map you memorized long ago. And you'd rather follow a bad map than walk with none at all. Then comes one of the strangest signs. The sixth sign only appears after you try to change. Watch what happens right after you break the pattern, even slightly. You feel unsettled, restless, almost guilty, as if peace itself is suspicious, as if you did something wrong by finally doing something different. Nothing bad happened, and yet part of you is bracing for it anyway, waiting for the other shoe to drop, simply because calm was never part of the script you know by heart. But the seventh sign is the one that stings the most. You've read the self-help, you've had the insight, you've said, I understand why I do this out loud more than once, and you still did it again last month. Understanding a pattern was never the same thing as interrupting it. The loop doesn't live in your logic. It lives in the reflex underneath it. Here's the uncomfortable part nobody tells you. You don't break a loop by understanding it better. You break it by acting differently. Not later. Not after you've journaled about it. Right when the old cue shows up, when everything in you is screaming to do what you've always done. That's the only place change is even possible. That 3-second window, right when the trigger hits. Choose the unfamiliar option there, or the loop plays itself out again. Most people never even notice that window exists. The loop was never fate, it was familiarity. And the hardest part was never escaping it. It was realizing you'd been the one hitting play. If one of these 7 signs made you uncomfortable, that's probably the one that's been running your life the longest. Don't explain it. Just comment the number, subscribe if you want more videos that name the patterns running your life before you have to learn them the hard way.